Hello, everyone. I'm going to get the conversation started just in the name of time. So hello and welcome to our live fireside chat. This is a part of our Colleaga conversation series where we ask entrepreneurs that are working in healthcare to discuss their experience with impact innovation and share some of the knowledge that they've acquired throughout their careers. So the last one we hosted was with Balaji, CEO of MedStack, and we had a very interesting conversation about his experience with disruptive innovation in BlackBerry and throughout his career. And we also discussed how tech platforms have evolved and have allowed producers to connect with their consumers. So very interesting conversation, and we do have a recorded version of that out in our community. So we'll share a link in the chat now. If you're curious to check that out after our chat today, I encourage you to do so. But today we do have our board chair of Colleaga, Dan Gordon, in conversation with Veronika Litinski, CEO of GeneYouIn Inc, a personalized medicine company that operates a genetic-based diagnostic platform called Pillcheck. I'll just go over a few quick housekeeping rules before we get started. This conversation will be about a half hour, and we do ask you to turn off your video and leave yourself on mute throughout the conversation, just to reduce any background noise. We do encourage questions throughout the conversation, which you can leave in the Zoom chat, and if we have time at the end, we'll try and get to some of those questions. You can also take a moment now to introduce yourself in the Zoom chat and let us know where you're joining from today. And if you're having any technical issues, you can reach out to one of our innovation Sherpas in the Zoom chat. They'll try and help you out as best they can. So with that being said, I'll now pass it off to the board chair of Colleaga, Dan Gordon, who will be acting as our moderator throughout the chat.
Thank you, Katie, and good day, everybody, and thank you for joining us. And especially a big thank you to Veronika. Veronika Litinski is a medicinal chemist, an investor, an ecosystem builder, and an entrepreneur. And over Veronika's widely varied career, she's developed a very singular understanding of complex health systems and the fit of innovation. So Veronika, take us back to the beginning of your career at JDX Capital. You're working on international debt partnerships, and you're working across geographies, but also with local teams. So what did you see in innovation ecosystems at that time? And were you seeing similar things, or was each one different?
Well, while overseeing the international venture finance portfolio for JDX Capital, I saw how similar ideas pop up around the world. However, growth trajectories of those organizations, those innovative companies, are deeply informed by the ecosystem where they're born. For example, California-based firms typically started with a lot of capital, and at least back in 2000s, there was a bit fake it till you make it mentality. In a way, venture firms were willing to throw money at the product until it truly met expectations of the users. By way of contrast, Canadian and UK companies tended to have enormous depths of underlying intellectual property, but sometimes painfully slow on market adoption. And in truth, only 5-7 years later, it became clear which one of those competitors has the durable competitive advantage, and whether those innovations actually prove useful enough to clients and users to merit being funded on an ongoing basis.
So that's interesting that it's really a comment on the power of Silicon Valley and how that supercluster attracted so much capital that was available. Whereas across the world, everybody else was stuck with no capital or very little capital, and having to sort of really demonstrate that they had a business that could make traction before they could attract financing.
Well, there's also unique features to health organizations and innovators working in healthcare. Healthcare represents 10 to 15% of GDP across the world. And it takes a while to gain real product market fit and traction in health, because it's such a enormous economy, an enormous contributor to the economy. It's often also a driver of social investment. And although supply side of healthcare is global, ultimately the regulation and market access and social constructs around health delivery are very regional and local. I think of healthcare as a service-based business, one that requires seamless interactions between three actual customers: clinicians, payers, and patients. And technology is a prime enabler of the service. And it becomes especially important nowadays with significant digital transformation underway. We see new ways and new insights at population level, and the new opportunities to make the whole system better, but it remains very regional and national in terms of how those innovations actually applied in a specific ecosystem, in a specific country.
And so, based on that's sort of been forever. And if we go back to early days, there were those organizations that had a lot of money and they could use it to try and develop product market fit, and there were those that didn't and had to find product market fit before they could get the money. And what we've seen is that nationally, countries have said, well, we want to look more like something like Silicon Valley, or like the Tel Aviv-Haifa corridor, or like London, and build out innovation ecosystems so that we are supporting companies better. You were one of the original early staff members at Mars Discovery District, and that was way before there were a bunch of shiny buildings on the corner of University and College Streets in Toronto. Tell us about what you saw then and how the ecosystem has evolved.
So yes, Mars was a great experience for me. I had the great privilege of joining Mars when I moved to Canada in 2004. And I joined Mars during the startup phase. So I was director of the venture group there, which was really the engine room of Mars. And later I was practice lead for health, working in really one of the more complex and socially important sectors of our economy. As I mentioned, healthcare is a service business, and it requires for investors and founders and inventors to really think how they meet customers, and whether they're consumers or healthcare practitioners, where they really are. And working with Mars, I observed also how entrepreneurship changes us as people. So creating a GeneYouIn hub for nurturing tech entrepreneurs and innovators takes time. And it also foregrounded for me, that experience foregrounded the importance of collaborative platforms, because it's fairly typical for clinicians and scientists to treat business activities with some disdain. Given my personal transformation from the academic to the business world, I can relate both to the joys of being in clinical research and being in finance world. And collaborative platforms such as Mars, like a very large scale innovative hub, they really provide ways for people with varying backgrounds and expertise to successfully pursue their goals. I find working with dozens of companies within Mars ecosystem that entrepreneurs take enormous personal and professional risks, but really their ventures are only as good as the team is as a whole. And good early stage teams have people who enjoy working across expert domains and equally comfortable functioning as mentors, builders, and engaged learners.
So putting this picture together, so you've been involved in building innovation ecosystems, and you're seeing these best practices and sort of understanding really how they work, because you're seeing the successful teams who are actually getting traction, and those who are not getting traction fast enough, and that academic clinicians treating the commercial side with a little bit of distance doesn't result in an effective commercialization of a product into a market, because you need to have such empathy for the users, the patients, and the entrepreneurs. And then you decided to say, okay, well, I'm going to form my own company. Tell us about that and why you decided to form a pharmacogenetics company.
So one big learning from working with entrepreneurs at Mars, I realized how important it is to understand what the whole product is, how customers, users find the product, how it fits in the whole ecosystem of service delivery. And so just looking at the area where I'm now, physicians and pharmacists working in healthcare have long been aware of differences between patients' responses to medications. But until recently, they had no tools to predict a patient's response to a drug before prescribing it. So science shows that the effectiveness of most medications depends upon genetic factors. And using DNA analysis, our firm's Pillcheck service tests for these genetic factors and suggests optimized medication therapy to cover a wide range of conditions. So the Pillcheck software was specifically designed to support both healthcare practitioners and patients. It combines DNA analysis with an online medication review by expert pharmacists. Seems like a good idea, doesn't it? But there was no real product until we as founders gain a complete understanding of the realities of actual operating environments, working with real-world messy data, busy clinicians, anxious patients, and solving issues dealing with patients. So to sum up, I find that successful health tech companies, they're never lone warriors. They have to find a way to grow with the ecosystem of global suppliers and also local service delivery. And we feel very happy about our progress so far, because we're really addressing enormous issue. The non-optimized medications harm patients and increase costs. The entire range of inappropriate medication use in the United States alone adds up to $528 billion annually, because the actual cost of medication use extends beyond the upfront cost of just purchasing medicines. It involves the additional medical cost of ill health and cascading costs in healthcare resulting from non-optimized medication management. So that was a big aha moment for me when, with the insights from health economists, we actually understood what is the impact of having this more personalized and optimized medication management in routine healthcare. And that's really what we do with the Pillcheck service. It's a virtual care service that's delivered through our proprietary software, and it reduces costs related to patients' poor response to medications and time lost in this ineffective trial and error prescribing.
And it's a very interesting example of having to balance having a global view with local delivery. So when you reflect on the local Canadian market for your service, that needs to address physicians and their typical prescribing practices, but also pharmacists who are now becoming a much more important player, and are non-traditional parts of the business ecosystem in healthcare. How do you think about a local delivery, and how you are defining your product market fit?
So we understood as a tech team early on that technology that we're building, it has to be capable of operating in different geographies. And so we started out by building a technology that can onboard genomic data from any source. That makes our software suitable for deployment in various regions, according with local health data management regulations. That's really a very key feature for any health tech technologies, because again, it's a 1/6 of the economy for most countries. And every region, country would have regulations specific to the scope of practice of physician, pharmacist, how data is stored, managed, privacy, and so on. So having that kind of platform, that was really step one, and is step one in our success and ability to work not only in Canada, but also outside of Canada. And you asked specifically about the role of pharmacy and the changing role of pharmacy in health services delivery. So Canada is unique in some ways, because pharmacists tend to have somewhat broader scope of practice in Canada than in some other jurisdictions. And the way Canada is very progressive, and it's a great place to build solutions like ours and understand what type of information and data access is really valued and important and valuable to different stakeholders. And the other big insight, and I see a lot of companies actually struggle, is you can build a technology, but you really have to focus on finding product market fit and recognize it's not an event, it's a journey of gradual adjustments to how you convey value and deliver value to different stakeholders. So today, our service, Pillcheck, has been successfully introduced as part of claims management and group benefits programs by some of the most respected names in Canada. These firms serve over 10 million people. And we figured out, after lots of trial and error and adjustments, how to deliver the service cost effectively and in a way that our clients find it useful. And now we're scaling it. So scaling is still ahead of us. Given the enormous problem of non-optimized medication management, there's clearly a lot of room for growth. And so I like to think of company growth as a relay race with different skills and focus needed at specific target stages. Maybe starting with technology building, and then team building, negotiations, being a communicator to different participants in the ecosystem, and then a capable operator of the scaled up service.
And so you and your team have needed to have expertise in genomics, in health economics, in health data privacy, in technology, in financing, and in insurance. And the list continues. It's like doing 4 PhDs all at the same time. How did you manage to find the right team that could develop that breadth of expertise?
Well, it didn't all happen on day one. So we, as you said, we're a team of deep experts in all those areas. And what really unites us is shared values, because we're very motivated by not only building useful products, but also bringing powerful data insights to our clients. Digitization in healthcare is only in the beginning, and there are enormous opportunities to improve system as a whole by deriving new insights from aggregated anonymized data. So while opportunities are enormous in healthcare, it remains a regulated industry with a complex third-party payment system. And we really added skill sets over time. And again, Toronto is a great hub for talented people who are able to join in and provide their expertise for specific job. So, for example, a health economist is someone we don't need full time, but when we needed to first build a health economic model, the skill set of that person were critical. And we just recently had a new addition to our team, someone who knows insurance sector really deeply with 35 years in that sector. I never worked in insurance, so I've been learning quite a lot from this new team member.
And so when you think about then, you've assembled the expertise that has allowed you to get product market fit in a local market, and now you want to scale to other markets. What concerns do you have about understanding whether your product will actually fit those other markets, and then filling in the expertise that you will need in other global markets in order to make sure that that the model fits there?
So technology is a backbone of the service, but in my mind, the business model is as important as the product itself. And success requires inside knowledge of the complexities of fragmented healthcare systems in other regions, and technological prowess, that's something we possess, and also strong ties to consumers and understanding the social frameworks in the region and how practitioners like to practice and so on. So few organizations possess all those, and we're planning to grow through strategic alliances. We already established very productive collaboration with a group in Scandinavia. They share our values, and we've been sharing a lot of data, information, market knowledge, and our software platform is also commercial in Scandinavia. By working together, we're able to improve our technology. So it's, for example, GDPR compliant, which are regulations in Europe from the start. So feeding information to each other early on, and ensuring that we don't progress too far in one direction, but keep together all three aspects of successful product in healthcare. It has to be useful for physicians, for healthcare providers. It has to have value to the payer, and it has to have ease of use from the consumer perspective. Mm-hmm. So the difficult part for us entrepreneurs in healthcare is really serving the needs of three classes of clients, and being able to achieve cost effectiveness on the delivery side while growing the business in all those areas.
It really is a good example of a multi-sided platform, where you have some users who receive the service, and other users pay for them to receive the service, and understanding how that multi-sided market is going to scale across different geographies with different priorities and different workflows and different ways of doing business. So, do you think of your service as a platform play?
Absolutely. Our Pillcheck platform is a platform for optimized medication management, and we painstakingly build really great user experience for different types of users in the group benefits sector, in pharmacy, physicians, administrators working in on the payer side, be it employee benefits or insurance companies. And each of this type of user have a specific need, and our platform really codifies the specific needs of those users, and we're able to deliver value to them in a way that also is safe for them, because using genomic information in routine care and routine health management is a bit of a paradigm shift, and it requires adjustments to education and to how we all think about data and how data flows. And this paradigm shift must be supported by capable software. So I would say we build the capable platform, and now we're working with partners to scale it up in different jurisdictions.
Huh. It's a really interesting take, because it really combines a number of important trends. One towards building out multi-sided platforms and understanding how to monetize them, and that it in many ways will rely on network effects. But those network effects will be influenced by acceptance, which is by people who don't want their data to, especially this kind of sensitive data, to go places they don't want it to go. And that you're living in an ecosystem, and that it's the understanding how you work in that ecosystem, that the ecosystems in different places where you want to sell your product will look and feel different. So it must be a real challenge then, where you have a team of experts to help the team to understand where to push forward and where not. And how do you work with your team in that way?
Well, we're fortunate that everyone on our team kind of a T-shaped expert, so deep expertise in specific area and able to step a bit of outside of their core expertise. And yes, some days it's rather frustrating, but I have to say I get inspired daily by seeing how Pillcheck brings new clarity to patients and physicians while saving money for payers. And I really believe in inspiring through values, and motivation kind of happens by itself, because our team are people who are really proud of the work they're doing, and deep experts in their field.
As we said in the beginning, Veronika, you have a singular understanding of complex healthcare. What you've seen and what you are now working in is the emergence of platforms, of new products, of really different different kinds of business models, and with teams of experts who also need to have general skills, and mostly that what drives it all is passion for a purpose. So good luck. It's a fantastic product, and we're really looking forward to seeing where it's going to go in future. And thank you very much for joining us and sharing your learning and your wisdom today.
Thank you, Dan. It's a pleasure to be part of this collaboration at Colleaga.
Thank you. Back to you, Katie.
Yeah, just before we let everybody go, if you have a quick moment, I'd just like to bring a few things up. Firstly, I'd like to thank both Dan and Veronika for having that chat with us today. It was a lot of fun and very informative. To everybody on the call, if you did want to kind of re-listen to or look over any of those bits from our session today, we re-release all of the recordings into our community. We are sharing a link to that in the chat. So you can come to the community to find other events that we're running, articles that we find relevant and interesting. And we do release all of the recordings of our chats, so you can come here to find them. The Balaji one I brought up at the beginning is in this community here. So if you're curious to check it out, please do join and take a peek around. This chat is a part of our Pandemic Recovery Collaborathon series. So what we do is we host events and challenges with the intention of finding some innovators who are interested in tackling and co-designing products that tackle some of the frontline challenges posed by the pandemic. So we do actually have currently 2 challenges running. They're both surrounding health system optimization. So there's one virtual care one and one health system analytics challenge. So if you're curious in getting involved in those, again, a link has been shared in the chat. I do recommend that you peruse this page and take a look at the 2 challenges that we are offering. You do have to make a submissions account to actually enter the challenge and find out more about FAQs and stuff like that. But if you are curious, we do recommend that you go ahead and make a submission because it's a great way, even if it's not fully formed, it's a great way for us to see what you're interested in, and then we can kind of discuss some next steps with you. So please check all of that out if you have a chance. Again, I want to thank Dan and Veronika and everybody else for joining us here today. These chats are a lot of fun, and we will be hosting more in the new year, so please keep an eye out for that. So thanks everybody, and have a great day.